So, all right, everybody, welcome to Circle Prospecting to get more listings. Name of the game right now is listings. If you haven't figured out yet, or if you've been on a bubble or hiding in quarantine, it is a seller's market in Palm Beach County right now, in Dade County, in Port St. Lucie, in Martin County, Broward, Palm Beach, everywhere that we service and that we work. It is absolutely a seller's market right now, and listings are the name of the game. I work with and talk to a lot of top teams regularly, and circle prospecting is one thing that has really picked up in success rate since this quarantine started, because the most amount of people ever really, and probably that ever will be home, are home right now. So not only do they have the ability to answer house phones for those that still have those, but also they have a lot more freedom to be able to answer their cell phones because they're home and not in their normal working environment. So circle prospecting is something I wanted to make sure we touched on. Had this planned out for a little bit. I'm going to give you guys some scripts and everything. Those of you that I do not know, I just celebrated 10 years in real estate, so woohoo. I've been licensed in 2 different states. I've been a single agent, ran the #1 team in the state of Florida for a couple of years, over 400 deals a year, 90 million plus in sales every year, and grew and recruited and built one of the largest real estate offices in Palm Beach County over the course of the next couple of years. And thankfully now I am here with you guys, so I work with all of you guys on behalf of Trident, Performance, Synergy, and we are backed by the fantastic Fidelity National Fortune 500 company. And my goal is to deliver as much value to you guys as possible. We formed Apex Training, really in perfect timing, just with a little bit of luck right before the pandemic, to help add a ton of value to all of our agent partners. And truthfully, we believe that if we add you guys value and help you get more deals, you in return are going to give us back some title business. So that is why we do this. Everybody always texts me and asks me, why is this free? I don't understand how you do this for free. Well, we do it for free because we want your title business. So on behalf of all of our fantastic reps that are on the call, Dave Ward, Melissa Kidwell, Gabrielle Bryce, Trace Cinder, and myself, we appreciate your business. Those of you that have not sent us business yet, we know it's coming. If there's something we can do to earn that business, let us know. So let's dive into circle prospecting to get more listings. So who needs more listings? The question that we always ask, right? If you're on this call, obviously your answer is me, or your hand is raised. I can see some of you already winking, blinking, smiling, and raising their hand, because I know that this is you, right? We need more listings. We all need more listings. Not only in a seller's market like today, where we put something on the market and 48 hours later, if we priced it within 5% of being right, the house is decent, it's gone. But at all times, right? It controls the inventory. And when we control the inventory, not only do we get to control our income, we get to control who we send title business to, but we get to control our schedule, which is lovely. We get to control our future. We also get to control the buyer leads, which allows us either to work them ourselves and double up some of these deals, or sell them something else, or it allows us to easily build a team. So if you notice the people that rapidly build teams, those are the ones that are doing a real great job with listings and piling up more and more listings, because it allows them to control the incoming flow of leads and leverage what they got to do more deals. So everyone needs more listings, right? Kind of a trick question. Why more listings? Again, biggest thing is just because it's leverage. And we know that right now, if you've been paying attention to the MLS or any of the stats, no matter what you hear on the news or what you think of the news or which way you vote or which news channel you watch, listings are selling right now, right? And we can prove that with the numbers in Palm Beach County. If you look at the numbers right now, it's absolutely insane. June, July have been our best months ever, so we thank you for that. But also, if you look at just numbers in general in Palm Beach County, the real estate number boards, all of those numbers are up, right? Listings taken are up, listings sold are up, price point is up, and interest rates are down. So it's kind of the perfect storm right here. Who knows how long this is going to last? Hopefully for a while. But right now, we all want more listings. So I wanted to bring this to you guys. So one key strategy to get more listings is what we call circle prospecting. And for some of you, you already know what that is. And if you don't, what I want you to think of is if you sell a house or list a house or do an open house at 123 Main Street, circle prospecting is calling, door knocking, talking to, and getting into relationship with all the people that are around you. So we used to have a rule that we would door knock 50 houses on either side of it. So the same street if we could. If not, we'd branch into the neighboring streets. And we would call at least 200 of the houses that are right there and neighboring it. So that's kind of the basis of circle prospecting. We're going to talk a little bit today about what tools you should be using. I'm going to give you my 5 scripts that I actually use to make circle prospecting calls. For a while, we had an inside sales division that was doing over 1,000 outbound calls every single day, and I'm giving you those exact scripts. So if you want those at the end, you'll be able to connect with us and get them. We'll talk a little bit about the prep work and everything that you need to do to make this successful. So we know that calling and cold calling isn't always for everybody. And while this is sort of a cold call, it's a little bit warmer than just running down the yellow pages, right? Because we're calling them with some information. We're calling to actually give them an update or local news, what's going on, with the house down the street or across the street or their neighbors that they know, and help to find if they know someone that's looking to buy or sell. And also build the relationship and build that database so we can find out when that person is going to sell. And everybody has something in mind, no matter who you are, where you are. You do have something in mind about when you're going to sell. It may be 90 days from now, it may be 90 years from now. My favorite response always used to be, well, I'm not leaving this house until they pull me out in a box or a bag. And we used to answer with, great, do you have any idea when that would be? And sometimes people like that and sometimes they didn't. So don't necessarily use that one. But somebody always has a time when they're going to sell, right? Whether it's when their kids finish up school or when they get a promotion or when the kids move out or when they want to downsize or upsize. And circle prospecting helps us to fill that need and also to understand what we need to do to actually build the database and be able to follow up with that person over time, but most importantly at the appropriate time, right? It allows us to start understanding that. So that is key strategy. So what is circle prospecting? We talked about that. Here are the 5 reasons to circle prospect. If you're writing stuff down or taking notes, just jot these down or take a screenshot. Number 1 is just listed. So anytime a house gets listed, whether it's your listing or not, we obviously want to do our own listings. If we're in a brokerage that allows us to share data or in a team or anything that allows us to share data, anytime there's a listing within our company, we want to do that. We want to be able to use this as our first piece of leverage. And what's really great about just listed is we can see it all the time, right? We can always see who is just listing their property. And if you really want to be ambitious, you could even call the agent and say, listen, I saw you just listed 123 Main Street. Congratulations. Wondering if you mind if I use that data to call around and help you get it sold. And most of the time people are going to say yes, right? Because their fiduciary responsibility is to the seller, which is helping them get that property sold. And they're going to let you do that. So number 1, just listed. Number 2, open houses. Anytime you're doing an open house on a listing, whether it's your listing or not, whether you're doing the open house or not, this is a reason for us to call. Number 3, price improvement. Some people call them adjustments. Some people call them reductions. We used to like to call them price improvements. Sounds a little bit more positive, a lot less negative. And we're improving the price. We're improving the opportunity for a buyer to purchase that house. So number 3 is price improvement. Number 4, under contract. This is kind of proof of concept, right? You've called them and talked to them already 3 times because you've listed a house, you've done an open, you've done a price improvement, and now it's starting to look like what you're doing is working, right? So number 4, under contract. And number 5 is just sold. Now this is a good thing. It's a celebratory call, right? We just closed something. And it's also a little bit of a bad thing because what we used to spin it into is, hey, look, we just sold your neighbors the Smith's house at 123 Main Street, and that's really great. However, because of our marketing efforts and all these calls and ads and all this stuff that we're doing, we've got a pile full of buyers that are interested in this neighborhood. But now that we sold this house, we don't have another house to sell them. So these are your 5 main reasons to circle prospect. There's other reasons that you can do for, but these are the 5 that we always used to do. And the way our MLS is, there's a never-ending supply of data. So it always drives me nuts when people say, I don't know who to call. When you really look at this, you can see that every one of these 5 things happens every single day, no matter where you're located in the country or in the world. If you're in real estate, one of these 5 things happens in your market every day. Doesn't matter if the market is good, bad, up, down, left, right, or sideways, it's going to happen. And it's a good reason to get out there, right? And again, with more people being home now than ever, we definitely want to make sure that we are attacking this. So there's 3 stages. If you're going to do this really well, you really have to break this down into 3 stages. Stage number 1 is before. It's before you're actually going to make the calls. And this involves a lot of prep to make step number 2 or stage number 2 much easier. So we're going to talk a little bit about the before and the prep. We're going to spend most of our time today in section number 2 or stage number 2, the during and what to say. And I'm going to go through all 5 of the scripts for those 5 things that I just shared with you in depth. To make sure that you hear those and you start kind of driving those into your head. And again, if you connect with your reps, so whoever brought you on this call, if it was Melissa Kidwell, Dave Ward, Tracy Cinder, Gab Bryce, or myself, if you connect with them after this and during the week, we will get you those scripts so that you can have them. You have to connect with them to do that. And then number 3 is after. We're going to talk a little bit about the follow-up. probably the most important part and what people do the least, but we want to make sure we have a system in place for that. So let's dive in a little bit to before, what we're going to do in preparation. Here's just the key questions that I want you to ask yourself. This is just one simple slide, but these are the things that you need to have planned out in advance if you want to do this and if you really want to be efficient. So number one is my bunker prepared. And what we mean by a bunker is think old-fashioned wartime bunkers, right, where you can go in there and nothing can bother you. So for me personally, in my bunkers, if I know I'm going to make a call session or make a bunch of calls or reach out to a bunch of leads, there's a few things that I need. Number one, I need to have gone to the bathroom before. And I know that sounds stupid, but I don't want to get up because as soon as I get up, I'm distracted. Number two, I need to have snacks because if I am there for more than like a half hour or 45 minutes, I'm going to want something to munch on. I need something to drink. So water, Gatorade, iced tea, whatever it is that you do. You know, I want you to make sure that you have that in there. And you want to have something up that's defending you from distractions. And I know for a lot of us right now, that's difficult. We have kids running around. We have dogs running around. We have adults running around. We have everything going on with everybody being home. But if you're really going to do this at a high level, you need to kind of bunker yourself in and say, look, I'm going to lock myself in the office or the bedroom or the garage or the car or whatever for 2 hours and bang some of this out. And a lot of the prep going into that bunker is really going to be the direct determiner of if you succeed or not. Because if you get to call 6 and you don't have a rhythm yet and then someone comes in and distracts you, it's much easier to not make call number 7 and to just go out and get lunch or whatever it may be that person's trying to get you to do. So creating that bunker is big. We used to even put a sign on our door and just telling everyone, look, for the next 2 hours, we're making circle prospecting calls. You know, unless the building's burning down or someone's dying, don't bother coming in. Just leave us alone. Next, which tools will I use? Someone asked me this morning, Sam, actually. So I wanted to add this in and just share. These are some of the most popular tools to use. There's startups all over the place now that have these. And we have some cool tools in our toolbox as well. So if you connect with us, we'd love to get you set up on those. Some of the popular ones for really getting these numbers that are specifically for circle prospecting. These tools are built for it. One of them is called Mojo. One of them is called Bressers. One of them is called Vulcan 7. And one of them is called Espresso Agent. And the other one is if you can get neighborhood directories. So if you're working HOAs or golf communities, a lot of them have neighborhood directories. And while you're not really supposed to have those, some bribery and some donuts and some coffee and some breakfast and some lunch and some flowers of the people that work at the HOA will very often result in you being able to get these directories. Also, when you sell houses, a lot of the times people will leave them. They'll be in the house somewhere because they're out of that neighborhood. They don't care anymore. So these are good things to pick up and be able to get. And if you know someone that lives in an HOA, usually that HOA gets them. So if you live in one, you usually have the right to get that directory. And also, you know, if you know somebody, a friend, a family member, or a client that lives in there, you want to try to tap into those to be able to connect. Who do I want to call? The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the 1 through 5 scripts that I'm going to give you. So we're going to talk about that next. Which script will I use? Like I said, we're going to give that to you. So don't worry about that. Where will I track my results? Tracking the result is probably of this whole page, the one that no one does or people do the least. And the reason for this that you want to track is you want to turn this into a math problem, right? We want to know, okay, if I make 100 dials, usually the numbers I'll tell you are roughly 20 to 25% of people answer. So if I make 100 dials, 25 are going to answer. Of the 25 that are going to answer, you know, maybe I'm going to get 1 appointment. You want to be able to turn this into a math problem so you can scale and understand, okay, if I need to do 2 appointments a day, I need 200 dials, I need 50 answers or 50 contacts, which is going to turn into 2 appointments. Usually what happens is of those 2 appointments, 1 cancels or bails out or doesn't show up. So it's going to result in actually having 1 appointment. And for most of us in real estate, if we do 1 appointment a day, we're pretty good. You know, down here in Palm Beach, Broward is a little higher price point actually, and Dade is even higher. So I know there's people on here from everywhere, but you know, in Palm Beach, the average price point right now is right around $350. So if you're going on an appointment for a $350,000 deal, whether it's a buyer or seller, once a day, we're getting 5 at-bats. So we're getting, you know, between $1.5 million and $2 million worth of at-bats every single week. Even if we're only closing one of those or getting one of those deals, you know, we're pretty easily making $10,000 a month or even a week. So, you know, real money in this. So knowing where you're going to track your results, it could start with something as simple as a spreadsheet. It could even be just like an old-fashioned tally mark. You know, how many do I make? How many answer? Whatever system works for you. I'm a Google Sheets guy. Personally, I'm kind of nerdy with Google stuff. We're actually going to do a Google Tools class towards the end of the month to kind of help you guys with that. But make sure you have somewhere to track it. Don't just do it and not track it because you need to be able to know how to improve. How many contacts a day are you going to make? We try to push everybody to do 20 minimum because usually for most people, it takes about 20 contacts to get an appointment. Personally, I'm not a big fan of using contacts as your daily goal. And the reason for that is, what if you make 50 contacts and you don't set any appointments, right? You don't have any opportunity for income or any opportunity to make money that day. So to me, I'm more of a, how many appointments do I need to set every day? And if you're working in real estate, if it's a day that you're working, one a day really should be the minimum. I like to push for two because historically, usually 50 to 66, so meaning half to 2/3 of people show up and a third to a half don't. So if you set one and that person doesn't show up, then you have nothing else going on. So I like to push for a number of appointments to be 2 a day. Again, up to you, and I know time and scheduling wise, that may not always work for people, but that's the target right there that you want to be at. So let's dive into what to say. I'm going to go through all 5 of these scripts. And again, if you reach out to us after, we'll get these to you. So if you want them, I don't mind sharing them with you. These are scripts that we actually use. I changed clients' names and I changed real estate company because we have people on here from 30 or 40 different brokerages. So I wanted to, keep it fair across the board. But other than that, these are exact. These are exactly what we use. So number 1 is the just listed script. I'm going to read through this, and these are kind of burned into my head. So if I skip a word or miss a word or something like that, it's okay. The point of these scripts is just to kind of give you a guide. I want you to kind of make this your own. And if you say, oh, I would never ask that question, or I would never say that, or that doesn't sound like me, I get it. But the more you practice it and read through it and go through it, it's going to sound a little bit more like you. And you can, of course, tweak it. This is just a guideline for you guys to try to make it as easy as possible. So good morning. This is Ryan with XYZ Realty. Calling because we just listed your neighbor's house at 123 Main Street for sale for $425,000. And I wanted to see if you wanted the opportunity to pick your neighbors. You know anybody looking to move into the area? Ask the question and then you just zip it, right? Just be quiet. Whatever they say, no matter what they say, great. Thank you for thinking about that. Let me ask you, if we could get you $425,000 for your house, would you be interested in moving? No, yes, whatever they say, great. Let's just say you were going to move. Where would you move? And by asking this question, you're just starting to understand what motivates them. So maybe it's Fiji, maybe it's to New York, maybe it's further south, further west, whatever it is, doesn't matter. But this is a key point for us to throw in our database. It's just a great question. Whenever somebody tells you, oh, I'm not moving, great. Well, let's just say you were going to move. Where would you go? Right? And instantly you'll see someone's either going to hang up on you right there. And if so, some will, some won't. So what next? But if they keep going right there, they're really going to give you some insight into them about what's important to them and where they're going to go. So let's just say you were going to move. Where would you move? And then the next question, the follow-up to that is, great. What's important to you about living there? So you're going to find out if it's for their kids or their parents, or because they like the beach or they hate the beach, or it's cheaper to live or it's more expensive to live, or it's buy something they like to do, whatever it is. These are great database adders. I can surely appreciate that. So last question while I have you. Do you know anyone in the world looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the next 90 days? Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking my call. You'll be hearing from us again as we move this house through our selling process. Please keep my team or me in mind if you do think of anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, and have a great day. So let's just break that script down a little bit. So we told them who we are, what company we're with, why we're calling, what the address is, what the price is. So we're starting to kind of, get the wheels spinning a little bit there. If they know anybody, great, close them for an appointment, get that person right there. If they don't, no problem. We're going to find out if at that price they would move. If not, no problem. We're finding out where they would move if they were going to go. So maybe this is 10 years down the line, but we start understanding that this is a database ad and something for us to follow up with. Great. Why is that important? So we get a pressure point there, or a needle. We get to understand what's important to them, the kids, the family. Maybe it's getting to them. Maybe it's getting away from them, whatever it is. Can surely appreciate that. Who do you know in the next 90 days? So we're asking for business. We're looking for a referral. And then we're thanking them for taking the call. We're trying to train them to take the call again, right? So that the next time we call, which very well could be a couple days later, when we go into this next script, you're going to see these 5 scripts. Some of the lines are exactly the same. And I know some of you are going to say, oh, that's ridiculous. I wouldn't say that many times in a row. But the truth is, if you called 100 neighbors, first of all, they're not going to answer on all 5. Second of all, 15 minutes after you get off the call, they're going to forget about you. And third, who knows, right? We might make this first call, and then that night, their neighbor might say they're going to sell. If we call again a week later, we might have an in to be able to have a chance at that. So that was just listed. Next is the open house invite. So one of the key things in here you're going to see is we're going to throw in the neighbor's name. And the key to this and the reason that we're doing this is a lot of people don't always know what their neighbor's address is. I don't know if this is just me, but like I might know the person that lives 3 doors down, their name. Usually I know what their dog's name is or their pets and their kids and what they like to do. But I have no idea what their address is because I just don't think about it, right? You just don't really think of what number they are or how the street is numbered. So we throw in a name here to really personalize it and make it knock and hit home. So open house invite, here we go. Good morning, this is Ryan with XYZ Realty. Your neighbors, the Smiths, over at 123 Main Street, actually asked me to give you a call to invite you to our special sneak preview event we're having this Saturday at 1 o'clock at their house. Notice we didn't say open house, right? It's a sneak preview. And for most people, they either want to compare their house to their neighbors so they understand value or because they're flat out nosy. And either way, we're totally good with that because if we get in front of these people, it gives us an opportunity to build a relationship and build rapport, so it's good. You may remember that they've hired me to sell their house, and we wanted to know if you wanted the first chance at picking your neighbors. So let me ask you, who do you know looking to move to the area? Well, thank you for thinking about that. Let me ask you, have you considered selling in today's hot market? So we're letting them know that the market is on fire. No matter what they've heard on the news or from their friend or from their sister, we're letting them know that the market is hot. Let's just say you were going to move. Where would you move? Great. What's important to you about living there? I can surely appreciate that. Last question while I have you. Do you know anyone in the world looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the next 90 days? Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking my call. You'll be hearing from us again as we move this house through our home selling process. Keep my team in mind if you think of anyone looking to buy, sell, or invest. And please be sure to stop by Saturday. I'd really love to meet you. So same thing. A lot of key points in this are the same. The big ad is their name in there. And we're really trying to get them to come to that open house. All right. We know that when we list a house, usually within 2 weeks, a house goes up somewhere in that block or in that subdivision. And we want to find out who that person is going to be, whether it's this person or not. They might know, like the mayor of the neighborhood, who's the one that knows everybody. And we want to get face-to-face with this person and have the opportunity to be able to connect and build that database. So that's open house. Number 3, price improvement. Good morning. This is Ryan with XYZ Realty. I have been hired by your neighbors, the Smiths, over at 123 Main Street to sell their house. Key emphasis on the sell there. We just improved the price on their home by $10,000. You know anyone looking to move into this great area? Well, thanks for thinking about that. Let me ask you, have you considered selling in today's hot market? Let's just say you were going to move. Where would you move? Great. What's important about living there? I can surely appreciate that. Last question while I have you. Who do you know in the world looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Awesome. Thank you for taking my call. You'll be hearing from us again as we continue to move the house through our selling process. Please keep the team in mind if you know anyone looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. So again, this one's almost exactly the same. We're just getting into their head that we sell real estate. We're working for or with their neighbor, and we're making moves, right? We're the movers and the shakers. A lot of people always say, oh, I'm not going to bother farming or circle prospecting that neighborhood because this agent already has a stranglehold over it. I will tell you, if you did this circle prospecting and actually made these calls for all 5 of these reasons over the course of a couple months, you automatically get boosted into first place in that neighborhood with who they think about as the top realtor because you're constantly in their face, right? This is advertising for yourself. This is your audio ad that they get to hear and understand that you are out there moving and shaking and getting stuff done. So right now, it might have only been 2 weeks, but we've called them 3 times. So once because we've listed a property, once because we've done an open house on the property, and once because we've dropped that price. So they know I'm hustling, right? And I'm making the calls to everybody in the neighborhood. Number 4, under contract. Good morning. This is Ryan over at XYZ Realty, and guess what? I'm sure you remember, but I've been hired by your neighbors, the Smiths, over at 123 Main Street to sell their house, and guess what? We actually just put the house under contract. Now, I have a handful of buyers remaining from marketing this property, so let me ask you, do you know anyone in the area looking to sell their home? No? All right. Well, thank you for thinking about that. Now, let me ask you, have you considered selling in today's hot market? Let's just say you were going to move. Where would you move? Great. What's important about living there? I can surely appreciate that. Now, obviously, if you've talked to the same person 4 times, we're just checking in and moving it through the process, and we cut these out. But there's a good chance we've only connected with them once of these 4 times because we've called at different times on different days, and they were working or didn't answer or whatever. Can surely appreciate that. Last question while I have you. Who do you know looking to move in the next 90 days? Awesome. Well, thank you for taking my call. You'll be hearing from us again with an update when we actually close on this property. In the meantime, Keep my team in mind if you do think of anyone looking to buy, sell, or invest. Have a great day. Last but not least, just sold. Good morning. This is Ryan over at XYZ Realty, and I have been hired by your neighbors, the Smiths, at 123 Main Street to sell their house. And guess what? Sure enough, it closed yesterday. We actually sold it for $422,000. And I was just wondering if you know anyone around here that would be interested in selling their home now that we know we can get them $422,000. Well, thanks for thinking about that. Let me ask you, have you considered selling in today's hot market? Let's just say you were going to move. Where would you move? Great. What's important to you about living there? Can surely appreciate that. Last question while I have you. Who do you know looking to buy, sell, or invest? Awesome. I know you're sick of me by now, but thank you for taking my call. You'll hear from us again the next time we sell a property in your area. In the meantime, keep this in mind if you know anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, and have a great day. So I know, and I could see it in the few of you that are on video, some of you are rolling your eyes saying, I would never do that. But I want you to think, you want to break into a neighborhood and get listings. Either A, do this on your own listings, or B, do this on your brokerages or people that give you the ability to do this. And with so many people home right now, you're going to be able to use these scripts to not only get appointments today, but also to build fantastic database entries so that you're really building business for a long term. And if you were on my farming class a couple of weeks back, this is a great way to kind of supplement that, because you can say, okay, I'm doing the farming activities. We're doing the circle prospecting in that farm or in the area that we want to farm or that we want to, grow up to work in or evolve to work in. And this is going to allow you to touch those people even more. And I promise you, there's 65 on the call right now. We had 70 something at the start. I promise you, if 2 people out of everybody in this call do it, I would be amazed. And the chances of them doing the same neighborhood are so slim to none. So don't think a lot of people are making these calls, because it is slim to none, the people that actually are. So those are the 5 scripts. And then after, I just want to talk about follow-up for a minute. So the one main action step is the follow-up. If you've done the hard work of doing all the prep, getting all the numbers, figuring out who to call, coming up with a tracking sheet, scheduling goals, setting goals, then you've actually made these calls, right? Which is not always the most fun for most of us. I know some people's personalities, they could bang out these calls for the rest of their life. But for some of us, this is a struggle. It's not fun to do. If we're going to do that, we need to make sure we follow up. So when we get off the call, when we finish one of these calls, you need to make sure that that person's information, the data, the notes are going right into whatever database you're using, whether it's your own or if you're looking for a database. We have a thing called Sync, which is amazing. Reach out and I can help you with that. But whatever CRM it is that you're using, you need to be making sure that these data points are going in there. So the person that said they want to move to New York because they want to be close to their grandkids and they're going to do it in 10 years, that needs to go in there. And 10 years is a long time out. I get that's a long time to follow up with someone, I understand. But that person goes in the database now. We've talked to them. We've met them. We've had a conversation with them. And do we need to follow up with them every week for 10 years? Of course not. But do we want to regularly, maybe quarterly, just check in, say, hey, how are you? What's going on? A lot of people that were in people's databases as 10-year moves, especially from the Northeast, right now, this last 6-7 months of craziness has rapidly accelerated that time frame. And those people that are not checking in are missing out on opportunities, right? So make sure that we're following up with everybody. Update your database immediately. What we used to do is we would actually block a time at the end of our calls to make sure that our database got updated. So if we knew we were going to bang out calls, just say 10 to 12, we would do like lunch and update the database 12 to 1 and make sure that that was on the schedule, on the calendar, that we were actually going to do that. And make sure everyone is on some kind of a marketing plan. So we want something automated that they're going to get. So whether it's an email newsletter, whether it's a quarterly phone call, whether it's an ad to a social media platform, anything, but something that is automated, that they're going to get some marketing from you and that it's going to be automated. Because we know if we make a bunch of these calls, and we were talking numbers earlier, making 50 a day or 50 contacts a day, even 20 a day, by day 2 or 3, we can't remember all the people we talked to. And if something's not scheduled and automated, it just flat out isn't going to happen. So we need to be able to make sure we do that. So importance of follow-up with everyone, the people that you meet, right? Yes, they might buy with you or list with you or rent with you. That's obviously what we're hoping. But they might be investors down the line. They're people to add to the database. Most importantly, they're referrals. The person that's hustling and calling and making these phone calls and getting out there and getting listings and doing open houses and dropping the price and putting it under contract and closing. And the person in the neighborhood that hears that, they know the realtors that are moving and shaking. And most likely they've never gotten phone calls like this before. So when the neighbor says that they're going to sell, and we spoke to the person that they are talking to now, there's going to be a referral opportunity in there for us. So yes, the goal always is to get listings right now, right? It's always to get now business. We want 30, 60, 90-day business so that we can put that stuff together. But if not, and it's long-term or it's database, that's okay too. And people really forget about the value of that. So everybody needs to get followed up with, no matter how good or bad they were. We want to get them on some kind of a follow-up plan, make sure we're following up. So putting it all together, your lead generation action plan. This is something that you should have, whatever strategy you use. We talk about a lot of strategies on these calls, but today, specifically with circle prospecting, when are you going to specifically start circle prospecting? Don't say next month or when the pandemic's over. It's today or tomorrow, right? We're going to start this prep. We're going to get it on our schedule, and we're going to attack. Next is, who are you going to call? So what neighborhood are you going to call? What area are you going to call? If you use any of those tools that I shared earlier, Mojo, Bressers, Vulcan 7, Expresso, they all kind of tie to Google Maps, and they allow you to just drop pins around the different areas that you want to call. So if there's a certain subdivision or neighborhood or street that you want to call, really what we're going to do is just drop the pins on those, extract the information out of there, and start to attack. So think about areas that you like to work, that you want to break into, and start there. What will you say? Hopefully you guys got those 5 scripts and you understood what to say. And how many appointments are you going to set before you stop? So what's the goal? Before you start, what's the point where you say, look, I'm not stopping until this happens? Bare minimum, like I said, should always be 1 appointment. You want to it doesn't matter how many calls it takes or how many hours or minutes or days, it should be 1 appointment. I would say 1 appointment or 20 contacts, whatever comes second, would be a good goal to kind of get started with. And usually what we're finding across the people that are really doing this regularly is it's taking between 20 and 25 actual conversations to set an appointment. So I'm not talking 25 dials, I'm talking 25 conversations. And roughly 20 to 25% of people are answering their phone. So maybe 100 dials to get an appointment. I know that sounds like a lot, but if all the dead dials or the ones that don't answer are a minute each, right? Maybe we're looking at 75 minutes of that. And then if all the ones that we actually have a conversation with are 2 and 3 minutes, then maybe we're looking at 2.5, 3 hours tops. And for the kind of income that we get to make in this industry, 3 hours a day or a couple days a week really isn't that bad, right? If you can earn more than $10,000 a month, you might want to think about a job, because there's not many things that we can do that are going to make us that kind of money by only working 3 hours or so a day. 3 things to make sure you work on, 3 systems to make sure you have: that prep system, the during system. So what do your calls look like? What do your scripts look like? And the after system, how's that follow-up going to work? Remember the key 5 reasons to circle prospect. Number 1 was for just listed. Number 2 was for open houses. Number 3 is for price improvements. Number 4 is when we put something under contract. And number 5 is when we actually just sell something. I'm going to put in 4.5 in there, a call to your favorite title company. That's a good reason to call too. If you want the scripts, I want to get these out to you guys, but I need you to reach out to us. So if you want them, these are the 5 lovely people that brought you on the call. Well, 4 lovely and myself. Melissa Kidwell, Tracy Sender, Dave Ward, Gabrielle Bryce, and myself. So whoever got you on the call, reach out to them. I will share with them the script template so you guys can have that and you guys can use it. Edit these a little bit if you want. And if you want to start making calls with this, you can right away. I'd love to hear some of your results or some of your struggles. So if you have anything or you want to hop on a one-on-one, once you've kind of gotten into action and started on these, give me a yell or connect with any of the reps and they will connect with you. If you haven't already been sending us deals, please do. Trident, Performance, and Synergy. For those of you that have, again, thank you so much. The last 2 months have been really fantastic. Thanks to you guys. And the only way we get to keep doing these calls is if you guys keep sending deals. So if you want us to continue the value, please keep pumping in the deals. We really appreciate it. If you want any of the slides, any of the marketing, or any of your own marketing custom done for you, reach out and I will connect you. Kerry does all of our slides and our GIFs and our videos and all that fun stuff. So if you want any of that stuff, let me know and I will get you connected so you can have some cool marketing. If you haven't already, connect with us on YouTube and Facebook at Apex Training. Coming up, the next 2 classes that we have coming up. This Thursday at 4, we have Better Call Paul. If you don't know Paul Krasker yet, our fantastic in-house attorney for Trident, Synergy, and Performance. Every Thursday, him and I jump on a call, and we just do it live on Zoom right in front of you guys with key issues that we're seeing in the marketplace, things that we want you to learn about, contract issues, settlement issues, closing issues, all different things. One that we have been coming up with a lot and seeing a lot of is weird things with emotional support animals. So Paul actually sought out an expert on this, and it's going to be myself, Paul, and her. So anybody that's working in HOAs or condos or working with people with pets or anything like that, it's going to be a fantastic class for you. If you want that and the scripts, again, reach out to your rep and we will connect you with that. 1 week from today at 11, we're going to do a class on Facebook lists. This is not groups. This is not ads. It doesn't cost you anything. This is probably the most amazing way to build a database and lead generate through Facebook. It is 100% free. It has actually been a feature in Facebook since 2010. And to this day, I would say maybe 1% of the people that I know use this or play in this field. So I'm going to share that with you and be able to kind of help you guys learn how to use that. A little secret, all of you guys that are on this call are on a Facebook list of mine. So it's a cool thing that we use pretty regularly to connect with people on Facebook and be able to really generate some extra leads and stay top of mind. So if you want to learn about that, again, totally free, same time, let us know. And everything else, see you next week. Stay safe, stay healthy. Most importantly, let's go Rangers. And if you need anything, reach out. Thank you all for being on the call. We appreciate you. And if you have any questions, I will hang for
Thank you, Ryan.
a couple minutes. No problem. Thanks for jumping on.